America, just a few weeks ago, we did a segment entitled Patrick Beverly versus the World. And now we double back and we got to do it again because Draymond Green. If you haven't noticed, America, Draymond Green has been at odds with many people in the media currently, whether it's his press conference or the Draymond Green show, his podcast, which he says that you're going to get that podcast whether you want it or not, America. You're going to get it. Okay? Statement seems a little forceful to me, but okay. All right. Draymond Green has been, going at guys from the 80s and 90s. Just been going at various critics in general from today. But he hasn't been backing it up on the court. Okay. As we tape, he's currently averaging 4.3 points per game, 7.3 boards, and 5.8 assists. Now, America, before I throw it to my brother, I will reveal this. Because I watched the game for real. And so I judged Draymond's impact more than the box score. Okay. I know he's going into the Hall of Fame. I know it. I don't know if it's first ballot or not, but I know he's going. Shouldn't be first ballot. You got to be like one of them ones to be first ballot. So I'm gonna say not first ballot. Don't disappoint me, voters. Okay, don't disappoint me with that. But I didn't know that when Charles Barkley said this man was averaging a triple single, like he's currently doing in the finals right now. I didn't know that that's really what that man is average for his career. Because again, I don't go looking for Draymond's stats. And like his stats ain't really coming on your timeline like that and all that kind of stuff. I just look at his impact. And I know he's the anchor of their defense. I know he's like their emotional leader. Like he can argue he's their point guard. Because you know what I'm saying? If he's in the post, he ain't trying to post nobody. They try to throw it to him while they do some kind of action and get step aside, or he let him tell it he's the greatest screener of all time. Now I know a lot of folks in the league right now. There was a viral tweet showing him just running over people. But I look at that and say, okay, I see how he affects the game. But as I prepare for this segment with my brother, I noticed that this brother who be talking crazy to Charles Barkley and other greats. This brother for his career is averaging 8.7 points per game, 6.9 boards, 5.4 assists. He averaging that same triple single. So I say to my brother, okay, before I get my spiel on it, what? Cause you're the biggest Draymond Green fan I know.
Yeah, no doubt.
Why that man? Hello, why that man looking off like that, America?
No doubt. I'm just sizing. Listen, I'm just getting my thoughts together.
Okay, all right. I feel it. What are your thoughts then about Draymond and the podcast? Do you agree with Isaiah Thomas that he needs to stop podcasting while he's hooping? Or are you more with Draymond that, hey, we're going to get this podcast no matter what, and, he'll bounce back some kind of way?
Yeah. Here's why I'm a Draymond fan, America. If you're just now tuning into the show, we appreciate you. But you should go back. We have this thing on this show where I will give you the importance of Draymond. And people try to determine if I'm being serious, if I'm joking. That part is irrelevant right now. That part is irrelevant. All right. Here's the real. Here's what you need to know about how I feel about Draymond. I think Draymond is masterful in so many ways. Draymond is masterful first and foremost because Draymond is not a bus driver, as Chuck and Shaq, call themselves. He doesn't lead a team in terms of being that guy. Yet he is a relevant player in the NBA. Very relevant. Like, who Draymond Green is. You can hate him or love him, but you know who he is, right? So he's masterful in marketing. He has a podcast that most third, fourth options on a team don't have a podcast. If they do, you don't know about it, right? It's just something that they do. Well, Draymond's podcast is the real one. You know what I mean? Um, like you heard my brother say, if you watch basketball, you can see Draymond's value to the team when he is balling. Like when he is in his element, you can see the impact that he has on the Warriors, whether they win or lose. You've seen that in the finals. Um, so that's why I like Draymond so much. Not just because his skill set is so incredible. No, it's because he has made himself relevant. He has built himself into a space where you have to talk about him when you talk about NBA basketball, right, wrong, and indifferent. He's going to be in the conversation. Here's the problem, though. Sometimes you can believe what you are putting out there. Like, it's one thing for you to market yourself as this person, all right, and you sell it to be relevant. I got that part. And then you go out and back it up with the way that you play the game. But when you start to act like your game equals a Steph Curry's game, let's not even mention his teammates. When you say your game equals a Jason Tatum's game, your game equals a LeBron James game, your game equals a Kevin Durant game, we got to stop. Your game equals a Luka's game. We got to stop that. Draymond exposed himself when Steph and Clay were not playing for the Warriors. When they were out with injuries and you saw him have to be the guy, wasn't pretty. Now, he shouldn't have to be the guy because his game has never been built to be the guy. But the problem is now he has drawn so much attention to himself that my brother is starting to do his homework and dig into the numbers. Where before you might not have cared about the numbers. Now you very much do because you're like, man, you talk a lot of trash to average a triple single. I'll take it a step further. Draymond will tell you it's not about the numbers, but it's really about how I ball when it matters. For Draymond's career, he averages 11 points, 9 rebounds, 6.5 assists in the finals. Those aren't legendary numbers by any stretch of the imagination. They're good for Draymond for what he does, but for his finals career, and they've played in a ton of finals games, those are his numbers. Those are not impactful numbers. Those aren't game-changing numbers. He makes game-changing plays, but those are by no means game-changing numbers. And then at one point in this final series, the brother had more turnovers than he did field goals made. Let me say that again. More turnovers than more field goals made. Sometimes you talk a little bit too much. And Draymond, who is masterful, I'm going to keep using that word because he is masterful at talking himself up to get himself ready for a game. He can talk you out of a game. But at this point, he has talked the expectation level so high where it should be here, but now you can't even see that expectation level anymore because he has put himself in a space that he cannot achieve. If Draymond would just go out and ball and play his role, set good screens, moving screens, but set good screens because he has that ability to do that in the league.
Right.
Man, if he would come down and hit timely shots every now and then and play that solid defense, nobody would be on his back. But because Draymond is still talking trash and his skills are starting to decline a little bit, now the sharks are in the water, and rightly so. It happens to everybody. Once your skill set begins to decline, people remember how you made them feel, and now they're coming back at them, and that's all that's happening. Listen, Draymond is a team guy. When he didn't play in Game 4, because Steve, felt like they had a better rhythm out there, and he sat him for a while. He didn't play any of those crunch time minutes. You didn't see the guy hang his head. He came out and dapped everybody up, hugged them because the win is the win. But what you're seeing is a guy who is on the decline, but still runs his mouth like he's in his prime.
Great points from my brother. Great points. You really poured some water on some of the things I was about to say. Because
say it anyway. Say it anyway.
No, because they're not. It's not right to do so.
Okay.
You gave me some straightening on a few things.
All right, that's fair.
And now, America gonna think. America probably gonna wonder what in the world were you finna say then after I say this.
Right.
Draymond is a un-athletic Ben Simmons with a microphone. That's who Draymond is.
Oh man,
Okay.
come
And I'm
on,
not
man.
so that's not a diss, that's not a shot.
But that's what it feels like, though.
I know. So America, my brother put water on what I was finna say.
Right, right. So
Okay.
you gonna take it to the next level.
That's what I'm saying.
You're welcome, Draymond.
But that's real though, because I'm not one of these folks who think Ben Simmons is trash. Y'all remember when we were still doing put it on something around the table, when we were having everybody at my crib. I hitched my wagon to the 76ers one year. I think TJ went back and did the numbers and stuff. I would always mess up in our pick'em game. Picking the 76ers because I just was believing they were coming. Well, now I see who Ben is, and Ben can be what Draymond is.
No doubt. I totally agree.
A guy who, what he does great, there's no stat. There's no easy stat for it. You know, the on-ball defense, I'm sure like the stat nerds probably come up with something.
Sure.
An advanced stat or something. But, you know, your easy stats that people run across tickers like we got right here, can't really find it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Draymond does best. And that's what Ben does best is on-ball defense.
Yeah.
Also, though, Draymond talks on defense. He quarterbacks a defense.
Yeah. Make sure everybody in the right spot. No doubt.
He does that. You can argue that he quarterbacks an offense because he gets guys, he'll be pointing. Okay, you go here, so we can get step off this. Somebody might be standing right here. He'll tell one of them young boys, "Got the way." You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So he has some leadership there. But it's like he admitted this on the podcast, he getting too much into the noise, he said.
Yeah.
But see, that's what be getting me, brother. These guys be trying to act like, I don't care about you. I don't care about you. You don't know basketball. You don't know basketball. What do you know? Acting like they're oblivious. Like we're on our show, and not even just we put it on something. We talk about mental health. We talk about dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression. These boys be trying to act like that don't bother me.
Like they're indestructible. Yeah, no doubt.
But then when Boston be going haywire, when Boston going ape up in that thing, oh, now you tripping. Now you can't do nothing. You can't even do what you normally do. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like it. You sit up here and talking crazy to legends who don't have a ring because they ran up against greater legends.
Yep.
But these legends that don't have rings greater than you.
Yes.
In terms of that.
Easily greater.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You snap out and cuss out the referees left and right. And knowing these guys, what can they do?
Yeah.
Because if they throw you out, they finna get ripped because everybody gonna say nobody's here to see you. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. I don't like when guys try to take advantage of folks who are helpless. I don't like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Draymond knows his power, though. To your point, when he got that first technical, I believe that was game 3 or 2 or 3. I can't remember which one. When he got the first technical, he knew he could do anything he wanted to for the rest of the game, minus punching a guy in the face, because at the end of the day, he's not getting thrown out because there's too much value in having Draymond on the court. More importantly, like you said, the referee does not want to be the person to have the finger pointed at them saying you got rid of the guy to kind of, take away some of the balance of power in the game. While I agree with you, that's not right. Draymond understands the power of marketing. So he uses that to his advantage. He has to, because some of those skills that we talked about, they're starting to diminish. That's a skill that he has. He recognizes the value of his mouth and how he operates on the court. Unfortunately now, your mouth is writing you checks that your teammates are having to cash.
And Steph just cashed.
Yeah, Steph just cashed.
Now, game 4.
Yeah, he just cashed out.
As we talked about in the previous segment, I should say, Steph cashed it. But you're right.
Yeah.
Draymond wrote that check. Draymond's the one that energized that crowd like that.
Yes.
Boston is their crowd is full of assholes. We know that though. All right,
Yeah,
going
no
all the way
doubt.
back.
No doubt.
Okay, so we know that they
Yeah.
really don't need nobody to energize them.
No.
But Draymond and got them.
Gave them
They
extra.
come to the game sauced up, as my brother would say, sauce.
Yes.
They drunk already. They
Very
sauce.
saucy. Yeah.
They having a few more drinks because they came ready. And Steph came in there and had to cash it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He
Yes.
did that. But Draymond wrote that check. You're right about that.
It's
And Steve had to sit his tail down.
because at the end of the day, you can see it. If you're a basketball, not even aficionado, we are, but you don't have to be a basketball aficionado to see what's going wrong. Those things that Draymond used to shore up for them, he's not doing that anymore. There's no way in the world that Otto Porter should be taking his minutes. There's no way in the world when we're coming down crunch time that we should be saying, should it be Kevin Looney or should it be Draymond Green? Looney's playing out of his mind, no doubt. But Draymond Green says he's an all-time great defender. He's one of the greatest defenders ever. He puts himself in that category. So if we're talking about crunch time, 1, 2, 3-point games, why would you not have one of the greatest defenders of all time in the game? Because the skill set is starting to diminish. Yeah. That's all this comes down to. He won't admit that part. He will not go on his podcast, any other podcast, and admit that. But when you watch the game, the coaches will tell you what's real. When we get down to these last 5 minutes, we need stops and quality buckets. Draymond cannot get you a quality bucket. He couldn't do that in his prime. You can't leave it to him to get a quality bucket. He can create one off of screens and through gameplay, but just putting the ball in his hands and saying, getting the bucket, he can't do that. It used to be he can get you a stop in crunch time. Now they don't believe he can do that either. That's the reality.
I want to go back to something you said in regards to that game where you got that tick.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it was in the press conference that he said something to the effect of he's earned the right to get, did he say, different treatment.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he said preferential treatment or deferential treatment.
Yeah.
But basically he's saying he's earned the right to be treated differently than other players. That he should be able to go off and do all this stuff. And again, see, that kind of stuff bothers. Like, bro, like Bron, the face of the NBA, might be able to say that. Steph, the face of the NBA, a face of the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Guys who, all right, what make you think you should be able to cuss these refs out like that, bro? It just ain't that, like that. I don't like that.
He's learned.
I don't like that. And I value defense. I do not want to devalue what he does, because if I'm a praise Steph, who's a one-way player.
That's right. You should be able to praise the defensive side.
And I'm in awe of that performance that man put on last night. I've been in awe of some of Draymond's stellar performances as well.
No question.
Averaging a triple single, but I see what he's doing out there defensively. I see what he's doing, running the break and starting things for them.
Yeah.
But does that give you the right to sit up here and undress these folks like this in this game? You know what I'm saying? Like that be bothering me. And then to go at these guys from the 80s and 90s who go too far. I'm going to say this, to be 100. I was talking to my young boys about this. Some of them cats go too far trying to act like nobody today could survive.
Could play in their league. Yeah, I know.
The physicality back then.
Yeah.
LeBron Raymond James Sr. is 6'9", 288 pounds.
Yeah.
That man can clearly. That man heavier. I had to go look this up. I'm willing to bet he heavier than every center of the 90s.
No doubt.
Except for Shaq. Luke Longley seemed like a big old scound to me.
Yeah. But the rest of those guys was
the only two that call my
250
at best.
Pat Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, you name it. David Robinson. Those guys were big.
Like, but 250 is big.
250 is big, but LeBron James is bigger. Listen, man,
6'9" point guard. Like he's what Karl Malone tell us? Karl Malone once said that LeBron is my size playing point
Yeah,
guard.
that's right.
So
That's
guys
right.
be running out with that statement.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's too much.
But
The stars of today, minus one or two guys, can play in the league of the 80s and 90s. It's Luka Doncic can do the same thing Larry Bird did in the 80s and 90s. Like I don't understand how that's so hard to see.
you
Kevin
know,
Durant can
you
go
know
and
what
play in the 80s and 90s. Like it is what it
cats
is.
just caught on their ear. But Draymond can't sit up here and tell them boys from back then
No, sir.
you couldn't play today. You would have to be more. Let me not put words in your mouth. He said you would have to be more skilled to play today.
Well,
And he's sitting up here averaging a triple single and telling them boys.
well, it's just like when he got into it with Cedric Maxwell from the Celtics, Cornbread Maxwell.
That's what I'm really talking about right there.
Yeah. So you go at Cornbread Maxwell partly because you didn't do your homework on who Maxwell was. Listen, I didn't watch Cornbread Maxwell play all the time either. I was a young guy at the time as well. I was born in '84 when the Celtics were doing their damage. All right. But all you got to do is go back and look at the numbers. Cornbread Maxwell is a finals MVP. What about you, Draymond? Cornbread Maxwell was a third, fourth option on that team that year, maybe even a fifth option, depending on how you look at it. What are you, Draymond? You're a third or fourth option on your team.
It's quite possible that Draymond was about to be a finals MVP in 2016. But once again, he cost his team.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of folks keep ripping the NBA for suspending him, and they're forgetting that he accumulated with this little point system or whatever.
Right.
So he had been doing stuff leading up to that, kicking folks in the groin and all that kind of stuff, leading up to that. So it's like he did that.
Yeah.
Like people want to act like it's the league. No, that's a character flaw.
Yeah.
Of his that he just can't contain himself even at the expense of his team in those moments. But now he's saying, well, I gotta be like that to play well. That's walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
You telling me you got to be out here going crazy to play good defense, then something wrong. You know
and if you really think about it, like I get what Draymond is saying, right? I've earned the right to get certain calls and things like that. But what Draymond is doing is forcing the league to totally change how they call a game. If it was the 10th guy on the roster that had a technical foul early and was doing Jaylen Brown the way Draymond was doing him, they throw him out. They would not jeopardize or compromise their integrity of calling a game to accommodate the 10th player. They accommodated Draymond Green for the entire game after that first technical foul. Why? Like we said, you don't want to be the bad guy in this situation. But nobody can tell either of us that the NBA didn't call that game differently the rest of the way. Well, to me, that doesn't feel right. That feels like we potentially changed the outcome of the game by letting him stay in. A technical foul is a technical foul. It's a technical foul for 4 quarters. And I know people arguing, say, no, you got to call the game differently in the playoffs and finals. They've been doing that, but it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
And so, again, Draymond Green, to me, I understand the man's value. I say, too, he is a Hall of Famer. I say, too, that you can't just look at his stat line to say whether he performed greatly or not, but you can look at the game and say it. And he just has not been playing well. And it's more than just the talk. His game is deteriorating a little bit. It's natural. He's played in a lot of games, a lot of meaningful games, but he's still talking that talk like he's that guy. And he was never that guy. He just sold it to you that he was that guy.
Well,
but now in his brain,
if Dennis, it would be like if Dennis talked like this.
Yeah.
Dennis didn't want to shoot. You know what I'm saying? But Dennis, to his credit, was the best in the league at something for a decade.
Yes.
You can say Dennis probably from 88 to 98.
Yeah.
I had double. He was one of the best rebounders in the league for a decade. And probably for 5 to 7 of those years, he was undoubtedly the best.
And a top-notch defender, on ball
And,
and
and,
help
a, and a great
help
defender.
defender. Yeah.
Dre can't say that he's been the best at one thing for a decade.
I know.
Like
Huh?
that.
Yeah.
But Dennis didn't do it. Dennis had his issues now. And Dennis was never even the second best player on his winning team.
Right.
I guess you would have to say he was the second best player in San Antonio. They didn't win nothing.
They didn't win. Yeah.
But he was at best the third best player in Detroit. That's at best. Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars. America, quit disrespecting Joe Dumars.
Please.
Joe Dumars had to go get a bucket, and Joe Dumars was a first-team All-Defender as well.
Yes, sir.
Ask Michael Jordan about Joe Dumars.
Yeah.
Okay. And, of course, in Chicago, he was at best the third best player. Some people would like to say that Tony Kukoc was really a part of the big three.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Dennis wasn't up here going crazy. He going crazy now.
Yeah, he's going crazy.
It was about like wanting to be a party guy.
Yeah.
You know, Dennis was being Gronk. Now he was doing stupid stuff on the court as well. Let me not play kicking the
cameraman, yeah.
Kicking the cameraman, getting those texts and stuff like that. You know, but Scotty and Mike had to rein the man in. I don't know if can Steph and if they needed to. Let's say in game 5, they back in San Francisco. Draymond feel himself again, but starts to get the dust up, starts cussing out the refs and stuff like that. Can you think Steph and Clay can rein him in?
Only person that can rein him in is Steve Kerr when he puts him on the bench, and Steve will get an earful too.
I've heard they say that he'll cuss Steve Kerr out.
Yeah, he'll get an earful as well, but he'll get that seat on the pine. So that's really the only way. That's what I'm saying. Like game 4 is when you saw kind of like the culmination of everything. The talk, you can talk as much as you want, but when rubber meets road, they did not have him on the court. That speaks volumes for me. And he can go on his podcast and say whatever he wants. Like I said, I do believe he's a team guy. But in that moment, they felt that there were 5 other guys that were better than you. Period. So you can talk whatever you want about how you rank amongst the greats. In that game, there were 5 other guys that played for the Golden State Warriors that Steve Kerr and the staff thought that could put it together better than you. No other top-notch guy has been replaced like that in crunch time. Dennis Rodman can't shoot a bucket to save his life. They weren't replacing him in crunch time because they knew what he was going to do on that glass or defensively. You get what I'm saying? So like that part to me speaks volumes. That's not even words. That's just actions. Just watch the game and understand when somebody is in the game and when somebody is not in the game. That's very important.
Well, we'll see. I'll leave it like this. I know I saw on social media that somebody tweeted out that Michael Jordan would go to the casinos and stay out all night and, during playoffs. And then they talked about how that boy Dennis Rodman went and wrestled with Hulk Hogan in there.
Different guy.
During the finals.
Different guy.
You can go look up Michael Jordan playoff stats. The man showed up. I don't know how long he was in the casino. I don't know what he was playing, but he showed up. Worm. Again, I'm in late 90. Well, I'm in 93 finals.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ain't made it to 96, 97, 98. Okay. But I know what I remember. Worm would show up and rebound the basketball. No matter what he did. At least that's the way. That's the way the Last Dance portrays. Again, I know watching the game, they get some stuff wrong, so I'm gonna double check on that. But I'm gonna see if Draymond can bounce back and beat Draymond while doing this podcast. I told y'all before I was amazed by this anyway. The fact that this man can be up here still playing and be talking about his colleagues like that, and nobody run up on him.
Yep.
Like nobody run up on him yet. I'm starting to think maybe the only man that would run up on him, maybe Udonis Haslam or something. Maybe Draymond got them hands, America, and the league know, and they don't want to fool with Draymond. Maybe Draymond is the last enforcer who Charles Oakley thought he was. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know he got this podcast, and he said you gonna get it, no matter what. America, y'all please chime in and tell us what y'all think. Do you think Draymond Green should stop podcasting until the job is done? Or do you support Draymond and say he can podcast all he wants, he just needs to play better? Let us know what you think. Put it on something. My kids wanted me to tell y'all to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me across all social media platforms, like the videos, and share them. Did I forget anything?
And turn on the post notifications.
Y'all heard them. And also, visit StatementTeesLLC.com and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear
makes a statement.